Hey, do you like smashing things from up close? Let me rephrase that. Do you like melee combat from the first-person perspective in games? If you said yes, you've probably already seen my first two videos on this topic about fantasy or medieval games with this kind of gameplay. If you said no, stop watching. Right now, just stop it! Now, all who's left watching, I invite you, yes, all four of you, to check out other games that are not set in a medieval or fantasy world, but have cool melee combat, a first-person camera, and deserve their own list. Hi, I'm Not-a-witchr, though I do prefer fantasy setting rather than any other. But sometimes a game is so good that I just make an exception. I mean, who's gonna stop me? So here they are, my games with first-person melee combat in non-fantasy or medieval setting. Of course, I had to start with the most well-known of them, Cyberpunk 2077, which we are getting closer to with every passing year. I'll see you when I'm 92 years old, Johnny! And yes, you could argue that the game is set in an alternative history setting rather than the future of our Earth, to which I say, look at this man! Can't you see that he's already hacked the laws of biology and currently is on another level of existence? He is proof enough that Cyberpunk is real. But back to the game. If you feel yourself a samurai, then take a katana and smash your enemies with it. I would prefer the sharp blade of my weapon to go through the enemies like hot katana through butter. But this feels more like a bludgeoning weapon. So maybe you like bats? Baseball bats. Actually, I don't know if people in 2077 still play baseball with these, or have they lost their original function completely? If you're feeling kinky, you can implant mantis blades in your forearms. Just be careful not to activate them in some awkward moment. Or if you do, make sure you have consent of all involved. Or you can put all your points in cool and impress your enemies with your impeccable style. Whatever you choose, remember, Cyberpunk 2077 is not only a shooter. It can be many things you want it to be. Within reason, of course. What I actually didn't like is the fact that you can move through your enemies in combat like they just don't exist or aren't real. It feels somehow wrong for melee. But it is my taste, you should make your own opinion. Unexpectedly, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 has quite good melee combat. It's almost all that it has gameplay-wise, because sadly it is not an RPG. It doesn't even have inventory. However, the story is good and atmospheric, and ripping your enemies apart by your hands feels unusually empowering. Using your vampiric disciplines and the ability to grab stuff with telekinesis and throw it in the enemies makes this combat fun, versatile, and very entertaining. What I found a bit puzzling is the disdain that Fire, our protagonist, feels toward touching firearms. The protagonist clearly prefers fighting with Fire's arms. Sorry, I just couldn't resist. I might be getting old. I mean, Fire is not above using guns in combat, but only with telekinesis, like it's something dirty and disgusting. Yes, we play as a 400-year-old vampire, but we've been asleep only about 100 years. We should be used to a modern gun design, more or less. But the game doesn't comment on that even a bit, while it could have been an interesting bit of lore about Fire. By the way, how the hell does everybody we first meet immediately knows how to spell fire correctly? Is it only me? Is it because English is not my first language? Anyway, I would recommend Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 for the combat itself. If you want to feel like an angry elder vampire, this is the game for that. And back to the realm of Cyberpunk with Ghostrunner and Ghostrunner 2. You play as a cyborg ninja. Do I even have to say more? Okay, I will, because this game has the fastest and deadliest gameplay I've ever seen. I mean, look at it! It even has an option to slow down the overall speed of the game, which I swear I didn't use even once, not even to see what it looks like. In this kind of game, the story is not that important. You just run and dash and jump and slash, and later, when you have your grappling hook, you practically fly non-stop. Yeah, Ghostrunner is not as much about melee combat as it is about movement. And falling again, and again. Thankfully, checkpoints are quite often, and if you are ready to learn from your mistakes and train your lizard brain, because you literally don't have any time to think with your neocortex, then the frustration challenge balance is just right there. And the moment right after you successfully take out the next target feels so satisfying and cool. The sequel of Ghostrunner, well, it feels like it has even faster gameplay somehow, especially with the addition of the bike. But this beast has nothing to do with the melee combat. However, I liked that in Ghostrunner 2 you can block enemies' melee attacks with your sword. I don't know, it just feels right. In other aspects, yeah, it is just as much of a 3D platformer game as the first one. If you always wanted to be a jumping, sliding cyber ninja with one hit point, Ghostrunner games are just what you need. Stepping into the realm of retro-fantastic, Outer Worlds and Outer Worlds 2 are amazing RPGs with a quirky sense of humor, and they also have melee combat, and you can even focus your character development on it. Of course, the games has a lot of ways to achieve your goals, but sometimes the power of persuasion cannot help you deal with the wildlife or the civilized life, so you have to take matters into your own hands, by which I refer to this, or this. Or maybe your companion could help you out with a big hammer. Speaking about the companions, they are amazing and deep and charismatic, and why, Obsidian Entertainment, do you hate romance? I mean, who wouldn't want to date these space weirdos? No, we don't hate romance. There is romance in our games, just not for your character. Your character will get old, get bitter, and die alone. But I digress. The melee combat in these games feels simple but fun and offers more options than I would have thought before I played them. Yes, sometimes it can be a bit clunky and a bit like bringing a knife to a plasma gunfight, but when you know what you're doing, it is something else, watching you finish your enemy in the tactical time dilation slow-mo again and again and again. What I didn't like in the melee fights here is when enemies die, you are instantly shown the loot that they have on them. First of all, it distracts you from the flow of combat. And second, it feels kinda disrespectful to appraise what you got even before you clear out all your enemies. Or maybe it's a kind of psychological warfare against the ones who are still standing. Outer Worlds and Outer Worlds 2 have different stories, and you don't need to play the first one to understand what's going on in the second. You can start with any of them. Just remember that it's all a comedy, with a heavy emphasis on mocking capitalism. How do you feel about zombies? I mean, are you tired of the whole zombie genre? If so, don't try these next couple of games, because you'll have to meet and beat a lot of zombies in them. Starting with Dying Light, in which you play as a plumber, because the first weapons that you wield is a pipe wrench and a piece of pipe. Is it a joke about Gabe Newell that I don't get? Cause, you know, it's a valve. Anyway. Also, you can jump on the enemies from above, and that's what plumbers do, right? The game has a skill system and crafting. I mean, I have to work on my woodworker skills. Ha! Nailed it! There's a lot to do in the open world city here. Beating up zombies, climbing places, jumping on the zombies from the places you've climbed. There's even a story, but does it really matter when the melee combat is so crunchy and satisfying? Hell, even zombies have melee weapons here. This game definitely belongs to the list. The sequel, Dying Light 2, also has nice melee combat, but more conventional starting weapons. And it has more human opponents, not just zombies. The city is huge and beautifully desolate, even if a bit unrealistic. I mean, you do know that trees have roots, right? But what's important, in these games you're not mowing down hordes of zombies, but rather you have to avoid confrontation where possible, with the help of your parkour skills and stealth, especially at night when really dangerous enemies come out. So it's kinda more survival with nice feeling to its melee combat. I told you that there will be several zombie games on this list, right? Here's Dead Island 2, which is all about zombies and different ways to kill them, including poison? What? I mean, how can you poison undead? No matter, this game is all about the process of fighting zombies in Los Angeles. Have you ever been? If not, and you like gore and violence, this is a game just for you. Dismembering zombies, burning zombies, electrifying zombies, and, well, just hitting them really hard. There is no other game with this amount of all that. It even has several heroes you can choose from, with their own characteristics and preferred style of eliminating undead obstacles. The game has bloody and visceral melee combat, so I had to include it in the list even if it's not exactly my jam, zombie apocalypse. And that's why I'm only talking about Dead Island 2, because after several zombie games in a row, I just couldn't bring myself to play the original Dead Island. So let's leave it at that. And now, the award for the most addictive combat in this list goes to Warhammer 40,000 Darktide. Considering that this list is about non-fantasy games, I can't even say that Darktide is not fantasy, because in my opinion, Warhammer 40k universe is dark techno-fantasy, not sci-fi. There is no sci nor fi in the Warhammer universe. I mean, the game is about fighting the cult that worships a chaos god, which spreads corrupting pestilence throughout the hive city of the theocratic Empire of Man, or rather the Empire of the God Emperor. So you see my point, right? Creators of Warhammer Vermintide and Darktide know their melee combat. While in this game there's greater emphasis on ranged weapons than in Vermintide, still, your best friend is your trusty knife or a shovel, and you will slaughter hordes of weaker enemies while trying to cooperate with your teammates to deal with elite enemies and bosses. I'm new to Darktide, having only started playing it recently, but I can already feel the addictiveness of the gameplay, very similar to Vermintide, only without ratmen to kill. Pity. I like Skaven, they're funny. So if you ever wanted to feel yourself like the dirty grease between the cogs of the industrial apparatus of the Imperium while hacking your way through unimaginable horrors with the amazing soundtrack by Jesper Cute on the background, welcome to Darktide. As an honorary mention, I would add Fallout New Vegas, because it is a great game and it has some wild melee options for your character. Make sure to get perks for the type of weapon you're using, and you'll be chopping your enemies like literally chopping them. Well, that was my list of games with great melee combat from first-person perspective in a non-fantasy or medieval setting. What would you have added to the list? Tell me in the comments. Thank you for watching. Consider subscribing to my channel if you like videos like this. I am still Not-a-witchr, and as always, take care and farewell.